Chapter 1. The Seeds of War. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls, the most massive characters are seared with scars. Khalil Gibran. The shadows of World War I had cast a long, haunting pall over the world, leaving scars that ran deep within the hearts and minds of nations. As the smoke dissipated and the cries of anguish faded, the world stood at a crossroads, yearning for peace and hoping to rebuild what was lost. Yet, within the ashes of devastation, hidden beneath the shattered dreams and broken promises, lay the dormant seeds of future conflict. It was a time when the consequences of the past and the aspirations for the future converged, shaping the destiny of nations and igniting the flames of a new war. The Seeds of War delves into the profound and intricate web of events, ideologies, and circumstances that set the stage for the cataclysmic global conflict known as World War II. It is a journey through the turbulent aftermath of World War I, where the echoes of battle still reverberated, and nations struggled to find their footing on a landscape forever altered. Drawing inspiration from Khalil Gibran's poignant words, out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls, the most massive characters are seared with scars. This chapter embarks on an exploration of the wounds inflicted upon humanity by the Great War. It unveils the scars etched upon nations, hearts burdened by the weight of repressions, and spirits marked by the tremors of shattered dreams. With a somber understanding of the past, we begin to unravel the intricate tapestry that led to the eruption of another global conflict. We witness the fragile peace promised by the Treaty of Versailles and its profound impact on Germany, a nation scarred by defeat and crippled by economic burden. We examine the rise of nationalism, militarism, and aggressive expansionism, as the desire for self-determination clashed with the ambitions of empires and fueled the flames of discontent. Through these pages, we shall bear witness to the consequences of the Treaty of Versailles, exploring its economic repressions and territorial adjustments, which cast a shadow of resentment upon a wounded nation. We shall delve into the political repercussions and the loss of prestige, as Germany grappled with its diminished role on the world stage. And we shall come face to face with the emergence of grievances, the smoldering embers of a nation's wounded pride that would fuel the fires of nationalist fervor. Beyond the treaty's impact, we shall delve into the rise of nationalism and militarism, tracing their roots in the hearts and minds of nations. We shall witness the yearning for self-determination, the rallying cries of a people seeking to shape their own destinies. We shall explore the military build-up and the arms race that engulfed nations, driven by a pervasive fear and the thirst for security. And we shall encounter the influential figures, the charismatic leaders who captivated hearts and minds with their nationalist ideologies, leading their nations down a treacherous path. The Seeds of War invites you to embark on this profound journey, to navigate the complexities of history, and to bear witness to the convergence of circumstances that would unleash the tempest of World War II. Through these pages, we hope to honor the memories of those who lived through these turbulent times, and to shed light on the inexorable forces that shaped our world. As we turn each page, let us remember the words of Khalil Gibran, for it is in the crucible of suffering that the true strength of nations and the indomitable spirit of humanity are forged.
Section 1. The Aftermath of World War I. In the aftermath of the cataclysmic World War I, the world found itself grappling with the daunting task of rebuilding and recovering from the devastation. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, was meant to lay the foundation for lasting peace. However, as history would reveal, the peace achieved through the treaty was fragile, planting the seeds of future conflicts. In the opening chapter, aptly titled, The Seeds of War, we embark on a journey to uncover the intricate factors and events that set the stage for the eruption of World War II. This chapter delves deep into the profound impact of the Treaty of Versailles, the rising tides of nationalism and militarism, and the aggressive expansionist ambitions that gripped various nations. The Treaty of Versailles was particularly punitive towards Germany, the nation held primarily responsible for the war. Its aim was to curtail German military might, cripple its economy, and restrict its political power. The burden of heavy repressions, territorial losses, and military limitations left Germany humiliated, economically devastated, and nursing deep-seated resentments that would fuel future grievances. Yet, the effects of the Treaty of Versailles reverberated far beyond the borders of Germany. The perceived injustices and territorial adjustments stirred feelings of nationalistic fervor among other nations, igniting the flames of desire for self-determination and the reclaiming of lost glory. The loss of territory, the economic hardships faced by nations, and the erosion of their prestige laid the groundwork for a pervasive sense of discontent and bitterness. Simultaneously, the world witnessed the ascendance of nationalism and militarism. In the wake of the war, countries sought to reassert their national identities and safeguard their interests. The aftermath of World War I became a breeding ground for nationalist movements that aimed to reclaim lost territories, restore national pride, and secure independence. Alongside this surge of nationalism, the specter of militarism loomed large as nations raced to build up their armed forces, enhancing their military capabilities to ensure the protection of their sovereignty and secure their place in an evolving global order. Our exploration in this chapter also unveils the phenomenon of aggressive expansionism that began to take hold in different regions. The rise of fascist regimes, embodied by figures such as Benito Mussolini in Italy and Adolf Hitler in Germany, capitalized on societal discontent and disillusionment to amass power. Promising national rejuvenation, these authoritarian leaders propagated ideologies steeped in ultranationalism, racial superiority, and absolute control. Through suppression of political opposition, manipulation of media, and the mobilization of their populace, they embarked on a path of aggressive expansion, fueled by a quest for dominance and territorial conquest. Moreover, the chapter sheds light on Japan's pursuit of aggressive imperialism in Asia. Driven by a hunger for resources, markets, and regional supremacy, Japan embarked on a series of invasions and conflicts. The occupation of Manchuria in 1931 marked the beginning of a turbulent period in China, leading to the destabilization of the region and heightening tensions with other major powers. Germany, under the leadership of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, emerged as a major player on the global stage. Hitler's foreign policies aimed to rectify what he perceived as historical injustices and regain lost territories. The remilitarization of the Rhineland, the annexation of Austria, and the occupation of Czechoslovakia showcased Germany's determination to challenge the existing order and reshape Europe according to its own ambitions. The Seeds of War sets the stage for a captivating exploration of subsequent chapters in the book. It illuminates the underlying causes and conditions that paved the treacherous path to World War II, ranging from the profound repercussions of the Treaty of Versailles, the rising tide of nationalism and militarism, to the aggressive expansionist aspirations of nations. By unraveling these intricate threads of history, readers can gain a deeper understanding of the complex dynamics that culminated in one of the most significant and devastating conflicts of our time. Subsection: The impact of the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, had far-reaching consequences that deeply affected Germany and set the stage for future conflicts. This subsection examines the impact of the treaty in terms of economic repressions, territorial adjustments, political consequences, and the emergence of resentment and grievances. Economic repressions and territorial adjustments. One of the most contentious aspects of the Treaty of Versailles was the imposition of massive repressions on Germany. The country was burdened with a staggering debt, intended to compensate the Allied powers for the damages caused by the war. The sheer magnitude of these repressions placed an enormous strain on Germany's economy, impeding its ability to recover and rebuild. Furthermore, the treaty enforced significant territorial adjustments, resulting in the loss of valuable resources and economic assets for Germany. Territories such as Alsace-Lorraine, once a vital industrial region, were ceded to France. Additionally, the rich coal mines of the Saar region were placed under international control, depriving Germany of crucial energy sources. These territorial losses further exacerbated Germany's economic struggles and added to the growing resentment. Political consequences and loss of prestige. The Treaty of Versailles dealt a severe blow to Germany's political standing and national pride. The treaty included provisions that restricted Germany's military capabilities, reducing its army and navy to a fraction of their former size. Moreover, Germany was prohibited from maintaining an air force, depriving it of a crucial element of modern warfare. These military restrictions not only weakened Germany's defense capabilities but also undermined its political influence on the world stage. Germany's diminished military stature and perceived subjugation to the victors of World War I were seen as a humiliating loss of prestige and sovereignty. The emergence of resentment and grievances. The onerous terms of the Treaty of Versailles bred a profound sense of resentment among the German population. The perception that Germany had been unfairly scapegoated and punished for the war fueled a growing sentiment of victimhood and injustice. This resentment was further fueled by the stark contrast between the post-war hardships experienced by the German people and the perceived prosperity enjoyed by the victorious Allied powers. The emergence of grievances was not limited to the economic and political spheres. The treaty's territorial adjustments, such as the detachment of German-speaking regions, created a sense of fragmentation and the notion of a dismembered nation. This loss of ethnic and cultural unity added to the grievances and fueled nationalist sentiments, providing fertile ground for the rise of extremist ideologies. Examples and supporting data. To illustrate the impact of the Treaty of Versailles, it is crucial to delve into specific examples and provide supporting data. For instance, Germany's reparation payments, initially set at a staggering 132 billion gold marks, amounted to nearly 100% of its GDP in 1919. This astronomical figure placed an unbearable burden on the German economy, leading to hyperinflation, unemployment, and widespread economic turmoil. Additionally, examining the territorial adjustments and their economic implications can shed light on the severity of the treaty's impact. The loss of Alsace-Lorraine, a region known for its industrial prowess, deprived Germany of valuable resources and industrial infrastructure. This loss had a direct impact on Germany's ability to rebuild and regain economic stability. Furthermore, the political consequences of the treaty can be highlighted through examples such as the limitations imposed on Germany's military. The reduction of the German army to 1 lakh soldiers and the ban on maintaining an air force severely curtailed the country's defense capabilities. Such restrictions not only weakened Germany's security but also humiliated a nation with a proud military tradition. By presenting concrete examples and supporting data, readers can gain a deeper understanding of the tangible and intangible effects of the Treaty of Versailles. This subsection serves as a crucial foundation for comprehending the broader context of World War II and the factors that contributed to the rise of extremist ideologies and the subsequent outbreak of global conflict. Subsection: Rise of Nationalism and Militarism. The aftermath of World War I witnessed a surge in nationalism and militarism across various nations. This subsection explores the factors that fueled these trends, including nationalistic sentiments and the desire for self-determination, the military buildup and arms race among nations, and the influence of charismatic leaders and nationalist ideologies. Nationalistic sentiments and the desire for self-determination. In the wake of World War I, many nations sought to assert their national identities and regain their autonomy. The war had disrupted established borders and reshaped political landscapes, leading to a growing desire among ethnic and cultural groups for self-determination. The dissolution of empires, such as the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires, created opportunities for emerging nation-states and minority groups to seek independence and forge their own destinies. Nationalistic sentiments ran high as people yearned to reclaim lost territories, restore cultural heritage, and assert their uniqueness. This surge of national pride and identity contributed to a sense of unity and purpose within nations, but it also heightened tensions between different ethnic groups and created potential flashpoints for future conflicts. Military buildup and arms race among nations. The period following World War I witnessed a significant militarization of nations as they sought to secure their interests and protect their sovereignty. The devastation of the war and the perceived failures of diplomacy led many countries to place their trust in military strength as a means of ensuring security. Governments embarked on extensive military build-up programs, expanding their armed forces, modernizing weaponry, and investing in advanced military technologies. This arms race created a dangerous atmosphere of suspicion and rivalry, with each nation striving to outmatch its neighbors in terms of military might. The pursuit of military dominance became a crucial element in national strategies, as nations sought to project power and deter potential aggressors. The influence of charismatic leaders and nationalist ideologies. Charismatic leaders emerged during this tumultuous period, capitalizing on the prevailing nationalistic sentiments to garner support and shape the political landscape. These leaders, often endowed with powerful oratory skills and magnetic personalities, appealed to the aspirations and frustrations of their respective nations. Nationalist ideologies, such as fascism and Nazism, gained prominence in countries like Italy and Germany. Figures like Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler exploited the economic hardships, political instability, and societal discontent to espouse ultra-nationalist and authoritarian ideologies. They promised to restore national pride, revive economies, and reclaim territories, rallying masses behind their charismatic leadership. These leaders propagated narratives of racial or cultural superiority, fostering a sense of unity and purpose among their followers. Through propaganda, indoctrination, and control of media, they cultivated a fervent nationalism that permeated all aspects of society, shaping the collective psyche and fueling aggressive ambitions. Examples and supporting data. To provide a deeper understanding of the rise of nationalism and militarism, it is essential to highlight specific examples and supporting data. For instance, the Treaty of Trianon in 1920 redrew the map of Europe, granting self-determination to various ethnic groups. This led to the creation of new nation-states, such as Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia, based on the principle of ethnic homogeneity. However, the redrawing of borders also left minority groups dissatisfied and fostered simmering tensions that would eventually erupt into conflicts. The arms race between major powers serves as another illustrative example. The naval competition between Britain and Germany, epitomized by the construction of battleships like HMS Dreadnought and the subsequent German response, highlighted the intensity of the race for military superiority. The size and capabilities of these naval vessels symbolized the nation's determination to dominate the seas and protect their maritime interests. Charismatic leaders like Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler had a profound impact on their respective countries, harnessing the rising tide of nationalism and militarism for their own political agendas. Benito Mussolini, the charismatic leader of Italy, capitalized on the frustrations and disillusionment felt by many Italians after World War I. He harnessed their nationalistic sentiments and aspirations for a revived Roman Empire, establishing the National Fascist Party in 1921. Mussolini's regime promoted a hyper-nationalistic ideology that emphasized the supremacy of the Italian state and the restoration of its former glory. Adolf Hitler, perhaps one of the most notorious figures in history, rose to power in Germany with his mesmerizing oratory skills and manipulation of nationalist sentiments. As the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, commonly known as the Nazi Party, Hitler exploited the economic hardships, political instability, and societal discontent prevalent in Germany during the interwar period. He propagated an extreme form of nationalism, coupled with racist ideologies, which aimed to unite the German people under the banner of a superior Aryan race and expand German territory through aggressive militarism. These leaders utilized propaganda, mass rallies, and control over media to shape public opinion, cultivate a sense of national unity, and foster a cult of personality around themselves. They tapped into the frustrations and grievances of their respective nations, promising to restore national pride, economic prosperity, and international influence. Through their charismatic leadership, Mussolini and Hitler captivated the masses, providing a clear vision and purpose that resonated deeply with the people. These examples demonstrate the significant impact of charismatic leaders and nationalist ideologies on the rise of nationalism and militarism during the interwar period. They reveal how the convergence of charismatic leadership, nationalist sentiments, and aspirations for restored national greatness fueled the flames of aggression and set the stage for the subsequent eruption of World War II. Supporting data, such as speeches, propaganda materials, and historical accounts, further reinforced the influence of these leaders and ideologies on the popular sentiment of the time. Analysis of public opinion polls, political party membership figures, and election results can provide quantitative evidence of the widespread support garnered by nationalist and militaristic movements in various countries. By examining these specific examples and supporting data, we gain a deeper understanding of the complex interplay between nationalism, militarism, and charismatic leadership, and how these factors shaped the course of events leading up to the outbreak of World War II. Section 2. Global Tensions and Aggressive Expansion. In the tumultuous years following the aftermath of World War I, the world found itself gripped by an undercurrent of global tensions and an insatiable hunger for aggressive expansion. As the specter of nationalism and militarism cast its shadow across continents, powerful nations vied for dominance, driven by a potent combination of ideological fervor, territorial ambitions, and strategic calculations. Section 2, Global Tensions and Aggressive Expansion, delves into this pivotal era, exploring the multifaceted factors that propelled nations towards the precipice of another devastating conflict. Against the backdrop of political turmoil and economic uncertainty, this section shines a light on the rise of fascist regimes and totalitarianism, examining their origins, ideologies, and the impact they had on the global stage. It uncovers the expansionist ambitions of Japan in Asia and the relentless drive of Germany towards territorial conquest. Through meticulous analysis and historical narratives, we embark on a journey that unearths the seeds of aggression, the clashing spheres of influence, and the rising tensions that would shatter the fragile peace of the interwar period. With a keen eye on the complexities of this era, we bear witness to the emergence of fascist regimes and their intoxicating allure. We explore the charismatic leaders who captivated their nations with promises of strength, purity, and national rejuvenation. We delve into their ideologies, understanding the perilous combination of authoritarian rule, extreme nationalism, and suppression of dissent that became the bedrock of their regimes. Furthermore, this section invites us to unravel the intricate web of events that unfolded in Asia, as Japan embarked on a relentless path of imperial expansion. We examine the motivations behind their aggressive actions, the conquests in Manchuria and beyond, and the subsequent consequences for regional stability. We delve into the coalition of interests between Japan and other major powers, tracing the escalating tensions that would eventually erupt into a full-scale war in the Pacific. Simultaneously, we immerse ourselves in the tumultuous landscape of Europe, where Germany, under the leadership of Adolf Hitler, set its sights on reclaiming lost territories and establishing hegemony. We witness the audacious moves, calculated provocations, and gradual erosion of international norms that marked Germany's aggressive expansion. We unravel the intricate web of alliances, territorial disputes, and diplomatic maneuverings that shaped the fate of the continent and ultimately plunged the world into the depths of war. Through meticulous research, first-hand accounts, and comprehensive analysis, this section paints a vivid and comprehensive portrait of the global tensions and aggressive expansion that defined this perilous period. It challenges us to grapple with the complex motivations, ideologies, and power dynamics that fueled the ambitions of nations and set them on a collision course. As we turn each page, we gain a deeper appreciation for the intricate interplay of geopolitical factors, historical circumstances, and human aspirations that pushed the world towards the brink of cataclysmic conflict. Subsection: Fascist regimes and totalitarianism. Fascist ideologies and the emergence of totalitarian regimes reshaped the political landscape of the interwar period. This subsection delves into the rise of influential fascist leaders and the establishment of authoritarian rule in various countries, leaving an indelible mark on history. The rise of Benito Mussolini and Fascist Italy. Benito Mussolini, a former socialist and journalist, founded the National Fascist Party in 1921. Mussolini capitalized on the post-World War I disillusionment, economic instability, and political turmoil in Italy. The collapse of the liberal government and the perceived failure of democracy provided fertile ground for Mussolini's rise to power. Mussolini's Blackschütze, also known as the Squadrischi, played a pivotal role in establishing his authority. These paramilitary squads, known for their black uniforms and violent tactics, intimidated political opponents, suppressed dissent, and helped Mussolini consolidate power. The March on Rome in 1922, a carefully orchestrated display of strength, pressured the government to appoint Mussolini as prime minister. Under Mussolini's fascist regime, Italy experienced a rapid transformation. He aimed to resurrect the glory of the Roman Empire, promote national unity, and build a totalitarian state. Mussolini instituted a corporatist system, merging labor unions and businesses under state control, and suppressed political opposition through censorship, propaganda, and secret police surveillance. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party's ascent to power in Germany. Adolf Hitler, a charismatic and fervent nationalist, rose to prominence as the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, commonly known as the Nazi Party. Following the failed beer hall putsch in 1923, Hitler refined his political strategy and gradually gained support. Hitler's anti-Semitic beliefs, outlined in his book Mein Kampf, resonated with certain segments of German society, particularly in the context of economic hardships and the perceived humiliation caused by the Treaty of Versailles. The Great Depression further fueled public discontent, providing fertile ground for Hitler's populist message. The Nazi Party skillfully exploited the political climate, employing propaganda, mass rallies, and paramilitary forces, such as the Sturmabteilung, SA, and Schutzstaffel, SS, to consolidate power. In 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, and subsequent events, such as the Reichstag fire and the passage of the Enabling Act, enabled him to dismantle democratic institutions and establish a totalitarian regime. Hitler's regime promoted iron racial superiority, propagated extreme nationalism, and aimed for territorial expansion. The Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of other victims, stands as one of the most horrific legacies of Hitler's Nazi regime. The establishment of authoritarian regimes in Spain and other countries. The rise of fascist and authoritarian regimes was not limited to Italy and Germany. Spain, under the leadership of General Francisco Franco, witnessed the establishment of a repressive authoritarian regime after the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939. Franco's forces, supported by fascist Italy and Nazi Germany, emerged victorious, leading to his dictatorial rule that lasted until 1975. Other countries, such as Portugal under António de Oliveira Salgás' Estado Novo regime, also experienced the grip of authoritarianism during this period. Salgás, an economist and conservative politician, implemented a corporatist system, suppressed political opposition, and maintained strict censorship and surveillance. The Iron Guard, a far-right and ultra-nationalist movement led by Corneliu Zele Codreanu, gained influence in Romania during the 1930s. It espoused fascist ideologies, promoted anti-Semitism, and engaged in violent activities against perceived enemies. These examples illustrate the rise of fascist regimes and the establishment of totalitarianism in different parts of Europe. The charismatic leadership, nationalist ideologies, and the consolidation of power by figures like Mussolini, Hitler, Franco, and others left lasting impacts on their respective countries and shaped the path towards World War II. The subsequent sections of this chapter will delve deeper into the consequences and ramifications of these fascist regimes and the global tensions that eventually led to aggressive expansion and the outbreak of World War II. Subsection: Japanese imperialism in Asia. The expansionist ambitions of Japan during the interwar period played a significant role in shaping the dynamics of the Asia-Pacific region. This subsection explores Japan's quest for resources, the Manchurian incident, and subsequent aggression in China, which ultimately led to the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War. Expansionist ambitions and the quest for resources. In the early 20th century, Japan experienced rapid industrialization and economic growth. However, with limited domestic resources, the country sought to secure vital raw materials and markets to sustain its development. The pursuit of resources, especially oil, rubber, and iron ore, drove Japan's imperialistic policies in Asia. The acquisition of territories rich in natural resources became a primary objective for the Japanese government. These territories would not only provide the resources needed for industrial expansion but also serve as strategic buffers against potential threats from Western powers. The Manchurian Incident and the occupation of Manchuria. The Manchurian Incident of 1931 marked a turning point in Japan's expansionist agenda. In a staged event, the Japanese military claimed that a bomb had exploded near a Japanese-owned railway in Manchuria, providing a pretext for the subsequent invasion and occupation of the region. Despite objections from the civilian government, the military proceeded with the invasion, establishing the puppet state of Manchukuo under the rule of the last king emperor, Poi. The occupation of Manchuria provided Japan with access to abundant resources, including coal, iron ore, and agricultural land. Japanese aggression in China and the Second Sino-Japanese War. Following the occupation of Manchuria, Japan's aggression in China intensified, leading to the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937. The conflict between the two nations would continue until the end of World War II in 1945. The Marco Polo Bridge incident in July 1937, a skirmish between Japanese and Chinese forces near Beijing, marked the beginning of full-scale hostilities. Japan launched a massive military campaign, rapidly advancing into Chinese territory and occupying major cities, such as Shanghai and Nanjing. The atrocities committed by the Imperial Japanese Army during the Nanjing Massacre shocked the world and exemplified the brutality of Japanese aggression in China. The war resulted in widespread destruction, loss of civilian lives, and immense suffering for the Chinese population. These examples demonstrate the expansionist ambitions of Japan in the interwar period and their consequences for the Asia-Pacific region. The aggressive actions taken by Japan in Manchuria and China further heightened global tensions and set the stage for broader conflicts that would later unfold during World War II. Subsection: German aggression and the road to war. The aggressive foreign policies and territorial ambitions of Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany significantly contributed to the escalation of tensions in Europe during the interwar period. This subsection examines Hitler's expansionist goals, the remilitarization of the Rhineland, the annexation of Austria, and the events leading up to the occupation of Czechoslovakia. Hitler's aggressive foreign policies and territorial ambitions. Adolf Hitler, fueled by a fervent desire to establish a dominant German empire, pursued an aggressive foreign policy aimed at territorial expansion and the assertion of German supremacy. He sought to overturn the restrictions imposed on Germany by the Treaty of Versailles and achieve what he perceived as the rightful place of Germany among the world powers. Hitler's ideologies, outlined in Mein Kampf, emphasized the superiority of the Aryan race, territorial expansion to accommodate the growing population, and the pursuit of Lebensraum, living space, for German people. These ideologies formed the basis for his aggressive actions in the years leading up to World War II. Remilitarization of the Rhineland and annexation of Austria. In 1936, Hitler ordered the remilitarization of the Rhineland, a demilitarized zone established by the Treaty of Versailles. This act violated the terms of the treaty and represented a significant step towards Germany's rearmament. The remilitarization of the Rhineland not only increased Germany's military capabilities but also demonstrated Hitler's willingness to challenge the existing order in Europe. Buoyed by the success of the Rhineland remilitarization, Hitler turned his attention to Austria, seeking to annex the country into Nazi Germany. In 1938, under the pretext of unifying German-speaking peoples, Hitler orchestrated the Unschluss, the annexation of Austria. The incorporation of Austria into the German Reich further strengthened Germany's military and economic power. The Munich Agreement and the occupation of Czechoslovakia. Hitler's territorial ambitions continued as he set his sights on Czechoslovakia, a country with a significant German-speaking population and valuable industrial resources. In 1938, at the Munich Conference, the leaders of Britain, France, Italy, and Germany met to negotiate a resolution to the Czechoslovakian crisis. The Munich Agreement, signed on 30 September 1938, allowed Hitler to annex the Sudetenland, a region predominantly inhabited by ethnic Germans in Czechoslovakia. The agreement, seen as an attempt to appease Hitler and avoid war, failed to address the larger issue of German aggression. Emboldened by the Munich Agreement, Hitler disregarded its limitations and proceeded with the occupation of Czechoslovakia in March 1939, effectively dismantling the country and dividing its territories between Germany and its allies. These examples illustrate the gradual progression of German aggression and the road to war in the prelude to World War II. Hitler's expansionist policies, the remilitarization of the Rhineland, the annexation of Austria, and the events leading to the occupation of Czechoslovakia demonstrated the international community's failure to effectively address German aggression, ultimately leading to a wider conflict that engulfed the world.